to another great edition of Mississippi Stories. I'm your host, Marshall Ramsey, editor-at-large at Mississippi Today. Our guest today, well, he does need an introduction because you probably have read his books. In fact, I hope you've read this one, Salvage This World. Michael Farris Smith is with us. Okay, let's go through the list here. We got Nick, Blackwood, Fighter, Desperation Road, Rivers, Hands of the Strangers. One of my favorite authors, to be honest with you, one of my favorite people, and he's sitting down with us here today. And also now, but you know, you're already famous because you're a writer, right? And I mean, I know your entourage is sitting over there in the audience. And I get that. Now you're in the movies. Man, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, thanks for inviting me too. It's cool to be here.
Yeah.
Always enjoy talking to you.
Well, thank you.
How much I love what you do, and we always, seem to have a lot to talk about.
I think so. I think we got a lot to cover today. And congratulations. Like I said, you got two movies in the works, and one's coming out October 6th. Right. Really excited about this. Desperation Road. It stars Willa Fitzgerald, who was in Reacher. Sure. She was fantastic. And you got Garrett Hedlund, who was in Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
And this guy named Mel Gibson.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah. I think he was in a couple things. He's
done a few.
Yeah, he's been around. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been quite the journey.
I could imagine. I always remember Tom Clancy just being ticked about how they turned his books into movies and everything. And I think you've kind of figured out a way around that because you're actually writing the screenplays, aren't you?
Yeah, I've written the screenplays for both films, and
you're involved in the production?
I've been involved, as a producer. I've been on set. When I offer these opportunities, I raise my hand and say, yes, I want to, because from the beginning, I thought if I'm given the opportunity to keep my hands on it and be involved in some way, I'm going to do whatever I can to do. Yeah. So writing the script was that first opportunity, and I, did my best to knock it out of the park so they keep me on doing it, And as things went on, I was just fortunate to work with directors on both projects and producers on both projects who also wanted me involved too. So I'm very, I'm really happy with both films. I think both of them are very faithful adaptations of the novels. Which
that's always the trick, I guess. But I've talked to Angie Thomas a lot about that, and of course she's been real hands-on with her films too, and she's been really happy on it. I can't wait. Like I said, Desperation Road, the trailer, which we will see in here in just a second. I'm going to have you set it up a little bit, but it really looks good, and it's coming out both streaming and in select theaters, right?
It will be October 6th. It will be out in select theaters. I'm not even exactly sure what that means right now, and then it'll be available on all streaming and on-demand platforms.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Tell us. Go ahead and set up the trailer, and we'll watch that real quick.
The trailer is great. They did a great job. It's actually what I've also learned is the first trailer is typically a little longer trailer. So I think you get a real good sense of how it's going to look and how it's going to feel without us giving away too much for those of you who haven't read the novel.
And I say this, and we'll watch it just here in half a second, is that you're as much of a painter with words as you are a writer. And so when I read your books, I have very vivid images of everything. And so when I sit there and watch this trailer as we're about to do, I mean, literally, I'm seeing flashes from when I read the book.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's great. And again, that's the testament to the director and all the people that we worked with on the art department, everybody who really took the script and shot, the script with their own, intense creative abilities that they all bring to the table.
Yeah, so let's watch it real quick. And, of course, this is coming up October 6th, Desperation Road.
What are you doing?
Going back to my room. I didn't do nothing.
Y'all never do.
What are you doing?
Welcome home. What happened to your face?
Just a little going away present from the boys.
They let you out early. You ain't on my reach, boy. You're being awful hard on yourself. We can be forgiven.
What's going on here?
Ain't no point in keeping it a secret. One of our own shot with his own pistol, which we can't seem to find.
I want to stick with you, and if we're going to stick together, we have to go right now.
Don't move. Get in the truck. Turn on the car and drive.
Oh, I think I'll hold on to that. This ain't your gun.
Just give it back to me.
I will. You tell me who it belongs to.
I shot him until he wasn't moving no more.
I know a place you can go. Somewhere safe. If I'm gonna trust you, you're gonna have to trust me.
What the hell is going on?
You need that old place. I'll explain everything later.
All right, I got your back.
A woman came into the shelter, a little girl. Now, the lady working there said she found a pistol on her before she took off running. I just need to know if Russell stayed here with you the night before last.
As far as I know, he was here.
We got one brother dead. I ain't looking to be another.
Seems like you and I were tied together by some sort of invisible rope.
Just do the best you can for right now. You don't worry about tomorrow until it comes.
David, somebody help us!
Life's a whirlwind. We're all caught up in it.
And that was great.
Yeah.
Like I said, congratulations. It's for you in a way. It's kind of like, you and I are both dads.
Yeah.
And it's always great to see your kids succeed. And so,
Yeah.
in a way, this is kind of like your kid too. You get to see. It's
It's very much like that, and I'm telling you, writing a novel is one type of experience.
Yeah.
It's a grind, and I think anybody who's read my novels probably knows what it takes out of me emotionally.
Yeah.
The stories I'm telling. A film is very much the same way because there's a whole lot of talking about it, a whole lot of trying to get together, a whole lot of, in indie films especially, you're just trying to figure out any way to get it going.
Yeah.
And then once you get it going, it's just the list of things and the grind of it and is incredible, but it's also it's so crazily rewarding and satisfying to get to the end of one of those. Not just to get to the first day, because when you're there the first day, you're like, well, I hope we're here tomorrow, because indie film world, you never know. But to get to the end of one of those projects with the collaborative nature too, watching a film crew, watching actors has been so incredible to me. It's like an anthill, when you kick an anthill or you watch an anthill, they look like chaos, but they all know what they're doing. To me, that's how a film crew is. When they say cut, it's just everybody just starts moving. It looks like chaos to you, but everybody knows exactly what they're doing.
That's the thing that they literally plan it out and they have it because it's obviously time is money and so forth. And especially too when you think about Desperation Road, you had Mel Gibson, so he had a really small window.
Yeah.
But him coming aboard also helped you in the fact it opened up some purse strings and some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting a name like that to be involved in the picture really gave us the green light.
Tell us a little bit about him. What's he like to deal with as a person? I know he's been controversial a little bit.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, when the producer called me and said, I think I'm going to send the script to Mel Gibson's team this weekend, I kind of laughed, to be honest. I'm because we were truly getting to the point with the movie to where if we didn't get that next piece, we didn't know if it was going to be able to happen, last year, and then it moves into the next year, and you just never know what's going on. So I'm okay, sure, that sounds great. Well, Monday, I get a phone call. It says, Mel and his team read Desperation Road this weekend, and they love it, and they want to do it. And I was like, are you messing with me? Because this is a terrible joke if you're messing with me. But the other part of that was that he wants to talk to you about it. So there was a phone call for Friday. Me and Mel and the director, Nadine Crocker, were going to be on the call. And the whole week I was waiting for the call to get canned for whatever reason. Something's not going to happen. This isn't going to happen. Something's not going to happen. Well, but my other part of that anxiety was, is he going to want changes to the script? Yeah. Because if he wanted to big time anybody, he can big time whoever he wants.
And he's a hell of a filmmaker.
He's
too.
a hell of a filmmaker. He's been doing it all his life. He's won Oscars, Academy Awards. I mean, every award under the sun. And so that I was a little worried about that he would have. Okay, here's 2 or 3 things I want you to change if you want me to be in it. Well, we get on the call, and right out of the gate, it's a little nerve-wracking. But I remember just saying, "Hey, Mel, thanks for taking the time to talk to us, and thanks for reading the script so quickly." And the first words out of his mouth were, "Are you kidding me? Do you know how much crap I have to read to get something this good?"
What? Oh, wow.
And when he said that, like, I immediately just relaxed. And the whole conversation was just about what he liked about the script, what he liked about the character, and how excited he was to do it. And that's how he was. Through the whole shoot, he was very collaborative. He was very easy to work with. If he wanted to change 2 words in a line, he would ask permission
Really?
to do it. Yeah. And so
so he didn't come in with his ego on an 18-wheeler.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'll give you another quick bit about it. The first day on set, we break for lunch, and there's the chow line for the crew and everybody. And the stars have their places, their trailers, their places they can get away. And I look up, and Mel Gibson is in the chow line with the crew, and he sits and eats with the crew. And he did that every day because he just loves being around making films. Yeah. So that was the experience with it. It was pretty great.
Yeah, I'm still getting my mind around the fact that here you are, you're so good at writing novels, and you're so good. I mean, like I said, I don't even know how you do that, but just be able to make that transformation into writing screenplays. Because I mean, literally, every page is a minute of the film, and it's got to be tight, and it's got to be. So you're taking literally all of this color and all this, and you're trying to, do it just real stripped down and dialogue, but trusting in the crew to be able to add that color that you would do with words.
It takes some practice. I mean, you're taking a 300-page novel and you're putting it into a 100-page script. Right. And whereas I may spend half a page describing some lovely sunset or drive through the marshes in a novel, I got a sentence and I got 1 and maybe 2 sentences to deliver that image in the script. And then you got to trust the directors and the cinematographer and the location scout and all these things. But it's really a great lesson in economy of just writing in general, and that you got to be specific and you got to hit your image. Fortunately, I've always thought about writing prose and writing fiction in kind of a cinematic fashion. Like, I'm trying to help the reader see things the way I see them or the way that I imagine them. So I think that really helped in the transition from getting the novels into scripts, because I was already in that mindset from day one with whatever it was I was working on. So finding those really strong images and putting them into a script, and then trusting the people around you to take and deliver those, it felt a little natural to me. I don't mean to make it sound like it's not difficult, because it's really tough and it takes a lot of practice. But I've had friends that have stumbled all over it. So I mean, I've had a hard time making that transition. So that's why I really admire the fact you've been able to do that. Yeah. Well, thank you. I do feel like I had somewhat of a natural instinct for it, which probably helped me. Yeah. And hope continues to help me along. Well, and I think about the pacing of your books, and that's like, did you write Salvage This World? Had you already been doing screenplays by the time you started writing this, or was this done before the screenplays? That was kind of in the middle. Okay, because I mean, I can kind of tell the pacing of it and everything else. It was very, it was almost like it was a movie in my head. The way especially the last act. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because I actually, thinking about it now, I had certainly written Rumble Through the Dark, and I feel like I had written a draft of Desperation Road, and maybe even a little bit of Blackwood. Yeah, when I was going through that novel or before. But I've been asked about it a couple times, like, did you think about that in writing the novel, or how do you feel like that affected you? And my answer is, I don't think about it, but clearly it affected it, because you're not the first person who kind of said they could see the influence of that, which I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't. I think it's a very good thing. Like I said, I think it makes it, and this has a little bit of a thriller aspect and so forth to it, and particularly toward the end on that. You did take the really messed up environmental end of the world scenario for rivers, and you brought it into this book on that, which I thought worked really well. And every time the weather starts going screwy, I blame you. Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, it's not. I wish it would rain a little bit. I get a lot of text messages and emails every time we have a big storm. Yeah, or especially one that lasts.
Yeah.
You know, like they tend to do here. It doesn't rain for 3 months, and then it rains for 3 months.
Right.
And, I get a lot of messages typically.
I know. I look at the little pond out by my house. It's like it's down 12 inches. I'm like, yeah, we'll get that probably in one rainstorm.
That's right.
That's how that
Yeah,
works
oh,
on
yeah.
that. But I am glad that you said that because I think it really does take the characters. Of course, obviously, being a father now, man, I could really Wade. I could really just relate to his pain and his not being able to understand how to be able to relate to his daughter Jessie after the mother died. And you know, there's so much trauma in this book and the characters, and you get to understand Holt a lot better as the book goes along for us. Or Elser, she's a wicked beast on there a little bit.
Yeah,
and
she was a lot of fun.
She was fun to write, and you actually have the perfect person to play her.
Well, I think Holly Hunter is the absolute perfect Elser, and I hope I get the chance to.
Did you hear that, Holly? Right here. Give him a call.
If you're watching, Holly, I'm going to bring it to you. So get ready.
You're now, I mean, like I said, you're into movies. You do speaking, obviously, with the book. You're doing appearances and everything. One of the things, and I find this with all the different things that I do, is sometimes it's hard to even just, once you get really busy, to find the time to actually be creative.
Yeah.
And I know you've had a studio for years down Water Valley. No longer you're back in Oxford. Mm-hmm. Congratulations on that. As much as that drive is scintillating and everything, I know you're not going to miss it too much. But do you have a scheduled time in your day that you structure? And because, you know, I used to come up with my cartoon ideas in the afternoon. Now I have to do them in the morning. Because it's just, you get into that habit. Yeah. And, you know, by the time 3 o'clock rolls around, hell, I can't even remember my name. Nobody has to be creative. Yeah. But do you have to block out that time?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's still the program that I was on when I finally realized you're either going to have to get habitual and you're going to have to get consistent, even if it's 30 minutes a day, or you're not ever going to get anywhere.
Right.
And that was when I had 2 small children and I was teaching full time.
Yeah.
My wife works full time, and she had a job at that time where she was gone 1 or 2 nights a week. And I finally just decided, and this is how Rivers got written in Desperation Road and pretty much every novel since, I decided, like, you got to do it first thing in the morning. You got to take the girls to school or daycare, and then I was living in Columbus at the time, and I got me a place outside of the house there, and I have my workspace, my studio, wherever it has been over the years, is always very stripped down. Yeah. It's a table, it's a chair, it's a coffee maker, it's a laptop, and it's maybe a few books on the shelf. But and I take the girls, I go to my workspace, and I would work in the morning, even if I had 30 or 45 minutes before I had to go teach classes, or before I had to go be daddy, or before I had to go run the errands, because and that's really how Rivers got written, and that's a big novel, you know, that's a 100,000 word novel, and I wrote that in a year and a half, like just going to it like that, and that really taught me the reward of being consistent and the reward of being habitual, and I've kept this program ever since. It's still like, get up in the morning, one of my daughters is about to go to college, but I still take one to school, and I go right to my workspace first thing. That 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning is just like my time to focus on before, you know, I have to do other things, or, you know, go somewhere, or answer emails, or whatever, cut the grass, like whatever it is, you know. And I like it that it gets it out of the way. And like Hemingway used to talk about this. He would work first thing in the morning because he said then he could let his subconscious have it the rest of the day.
That's right.
And I've always kind of felt that.
Yeah.
I work in the morning, I kind of leave it where I know I might be going the next day, and then I leave and largely forget about it and just let those other things kind of have at it.
I don't know about you, because there are some times when I have to do something later in the day, and I worry about it. I'm like, I got to come up. And if you get it out of the way, then like you said, you can, cutting the grass is great because you can turn your brain off.
Yeah, that's true.
It's got real advantage on that. You and I were kind of texting back and forth the other day a little bit, and you know, you made the big move from Columbus to Oxford, and that was a big jump, especially when you got kids. You know, you moved up and everything. But I think, you know, I've been here. Gosh, I always tell people the best thing I ever did was move here, and not because the weather's so fantastic, or because the roaches fly or whatever, but or even, well, the politics are pretty darn good if you're an editorial cartoonist. Don't get me wrong, I got a lot of material.
You have a wealth.
But I think the real superpower of being creative in Mississippi is just getting to meet the people that you get to meet. I mean, in fact, I've gotten to meet you and get to know you. I mean, you inspire me. You make me want to be a better writer. I'll be really honest with you. I think your writing's fantastic. And I was told early on I couldn't write, so I didn't for 20 years. And then one day I was like, oh, maybe I ought to try this. But you know, being in Oxford, you get to bump into a lot of really wonderful and creative people. Who are some of the people up there that inspire you, and who are some of the people in Mississippi that make you want to become a better writer?
Yeah, well, this is a really good question, and it is a really good point, and I think it's one of the tremendous things Mississippi has going for it.
Yeah.
Just the sheer number of people doing creative things successfully.
Yeah.
And who are actually good people, too, and
Yeah.
easy to talk with and
Yeah.
easy to learn from and be with. You know, in Oxford, I think it's largely the community that inspires me.
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know, for instance,
It's
like
the roundabouts.
It's the roundabouts. It's the bars.
Yeah, okay.
It's
I was
really
joking
the
about the
bar.
roundabouts. The bars is not far off.
But there's such a group of people there who have such an energy, and they have such a feel for one another,
Yeah.
and how to support each other and how to hold each other up. And it's not just writers; it's writers, it's musicians, it's the bartenders, it's the chefs, it's the cooks, it's the it's really such an interesting collection of people, and it makes me feel at home, and it also inspires me to do better, which I think we're always wanting to do better, and it helps keep my fire burning. But I think just being able to have that conversation with those people and not be on the island, you realize, you know, because you know this, it can be very lonely and very dark as an artist, and it helps to get out of that dark and that loneliness. And I think having that conversation, even if you're not talking about writing, if you know you're sitting with somebody having a beer, you know, and they're in that world you kind of are trying to navigate too.
That's right.
That it feels normal, you know.
Right.
And I think that really helps, and it's really rewarding. And I think that's true for Oxford, but too, like getting to know you and other people in Jackson. I think so many pockets of Mississippi have these creative and inspirational people that I hope keeps us all charging forward.
Yeah, definitely on that. And you're right, because like you said, even if it's a musician or whatever, they understand what it's like to have to sacrifice or to try to figure out how to make a living or whatever they're trying. And you, I mean, here you're going to the movies. There's people who've done movies. So, I mean, it's like we don't, you know, I always joked about Haley Barbour that his superpower was making connections on that. That's really our superpower in Mississippi are the connections that we can make.
Yeah. People are always amazed when I'm, you know, out of the state or doing a book tour or doing anything, and they kind of get a sense of the number of people here who are producing and creating, and it's really kind of mind-blowing.
I've always said the Authors Lounge at the book festival is like a family reunion.
It is.
You know, it's really cool.
It really is. It's great.
Well, we're about to, unfortunately, out of time. But once again, October 6th, Desperation Road will be coming streaming into theaters, so to check that out. It really looks good. Congratulations on that. And then, of course, when is Rumble Through the Dark, which is The Fighter? When is that coming out?
It comes out November the 10th. It will also be, it'll actually go to theaters November 10th, and then a week later go to streaming on the 17th. So we'll have maybe a little bit wider spread on that one, I think. I truly don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, it will also be in theaters first.
That'll be fantastic. How can people find out more about you? Obviously, the new book for this year is right here.
Yes.
So check it out.
My website, michaelfarrissmith.com, has all the info about the books, about the movies, about everything that's going on in my world.
I hate that this has to be a short. You and I could talk creativity probably for about 6 years because there's a lot of things. Because I say I always love hearing about other writers and artists, their creative process, because it's nobody does it really the same way, but it kind of all comes from the same direction, and it's kind of cool to hear how other people have figured this out.
That's true. I've always really enjoyed talking to other artists about their process too.
Yeah.
We'll just do it again one day.
We'll do it again. I mean, I have my people talk to your people. Although you have more people than I have people now, so you have a lot of people. Hey, thank you. And by the way, thank you for coming to visit us today.
Of course.
Today as well.
Thanks for the invite.
All right. All right. Well, that concludes another great episode of Mississippi Stories. I'm your host, Marshall Ramsey. We will come back next week. Thank you for watching this episode of Mississippi Stories. Make sure to subscribe to the Mississippi Today YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified every time a new video uploads.